Okay, welcome. In this video, I'm going to do, this is video part 3 for program 9. So let's continue. So far we have, well, we'll run it and see what we've done so far. So far we've put in our greeting. Obviously your greeting should be better than that. We've filled five valid customers into our inventory. You can select V and it will print them onto the screen, only the valid ones, which at this point they're all valid. And you can select C and you can create a report, and you can select Q to quit. So we've implemented the C and the V. So now we need to implement the A, the P, the I, the T, and the E. All right, so let's just do those one at a time. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to, and we did the whole menu. So go back and watch video 2 before doing video 3. All right, so now we're going to add a customer to the list. So we have a function for that. That function is add a new customer to the list. So let's go down here and start implementing our add a customer to the list function. All right, so when you add a customer to the list, you need to add one field at a time. So we have our order number. The order number is going to be related to the index. So if the index is the empty one we're going to be going into is going to be at location count. So if you had 5, they would be at index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next empty index would be index 5, which is the count. So we're going to put we're going to fill our information into location count, or the first empty one in the array. Go back and watch video 1. I drew a picture of it in that video. All right, so then the order number is going to be one more than that. So if you're at index, if count was 0, you would be at index 0, then your order number would be 1. So since we already have 5 in there at index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to go at location count, which is 5, and our order number is going to be 6 because it's our 6th order. All right, and then you're just going to set it to valid. So you only have to fill in the fields for the name, amount, and location. Remember, we're going to do no white space with our character arrays. So we have our name is going to be %s. Then the next one that we're going to do is the amount. So we want to enter the amount, which is going to be %lf. And that's a double. So we're going to put the order amount here. And because that is a double, we need to put an ampersand here, right? Because this is a character array, the order name is a character array, you don't have to put an ampersand. But because the amount is a double, you have to put an ampersand here. And then the last one is going to be the location. And of course, we want to fix our prompt. And now we need to call this function. So, and we're going to set it to valid. All right, so to call this function on the selection of A, you're going to call the function, I think it's called add. I believe it's called add customer to list. This function takes our inventory and it takes the count, but because the count came in here as an address, we're going to pass it the value at the count. So that way, when you're in the function, this is an actual value of an integer. So when you're in the function, it's going to be just an integer. All right, so that's a pass by value. And then we have to add 1 to the count. But remember that count is a pointer here. Again, this is for practice. So we're going to take whatever count was, which was 5 in this case, add 1 to it, and now count will be 6. So now the next time you add 1 to the list, count will be 6 and it will go into location 6. So now we've made a change. So let's try it out. All right, we want to add 1 to the list. So the name, the amount, And the location of the order is FAU. All right, so now we're going to print the valid ones onto the screen, and you can see that this one now has been added to my list. All right, let's see what our next feature is. Our next feature is P. So what do we do with P? Well, let's check. So our P, oh, I have to get the assignment up here. Print the information for only one customer. So when they select P, you want to print the information for only one customer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tell them how many there are in the list. So you're going to say, okay, which customer would you like to print the information for? There are 6 on the list. So you give me the order number. And so then you're going to ask for the order number, printf. All right. Now, the thing about this is that we don't want to get a negative number and we don't want to get a number that's outside of the range. So you want to ask for the order number, enter the order number, and then scan into the order number. Okay, so now we want to make sure that we get a number that's in the right range. So you're going to need to add a do while loop to make sure that you get a number that is in the correct range. So you can't, we don't want the number to be less than 0, but it can be 0. Can it be 0? It can't be 0 because the order number starts at 1. So we're going to do this based on the order number. So based on the order number, we don't want to have a 0. So we want to make sure that the number is, you can say less than or less than 1, right? So if it's less than 1, that's no good. Or if the number is greater than count. So let's see if that's correct. So we got to think about it for a minute. I don't know if I can draw on this. Oh, I can't draw on this. So, all right, so let's give this a thought for a minute. So if maybe I can draw on this. All right, I can. All right, so here's I should be able to draw on this. Yeah. All right, so this is our array. So this is going to be index 0. This is index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, and we'll just say that count is equal to 5. So this is going to be count. That's going to be the first, and this is going to be empty. So we don't, at this point, if there are 5 in there, we do not have anything at index count. So if this is the size, then this is going to be order number 1, order number 2, order number 3, order number 4, and order number 5. So the user cannot enter anything less than 1 or anything greater than count, and count is 5. So that's how we're going to enforce that they enter a number that is in the correct range. So that's what we did this. And I'm not really sure. Oh, I guess I have to back up there, I guess. Okay. So we're going to ask them to enter the number, and then we're going to get the number, and we're going to use a loop. And this actually should be number. So I'll fix that before I post it. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to, so when they enter the number for the order number, we're actually, again, if we take a look at this, if they enter the number, if they enter the number 5, then that's going to be at index 4, which is going to be number -1. If they enter the number 3, because we're getting the order number from them, then that's going to be at index 2, which is number -1. So you want to print one customer that is going to be located at location number -1. So you're going to say number, the index is 1 less than the order number. Okay, so this should work. All right, so let's give it a try. We hit P. Let's see if it works. Oh, I have an error here. Oh, I'm missing a semicolon here. Okay. All right, let's test it. All right, so we want to print one customer. There are 5 orders. If I enter an 8, if I enter a -1, if I enter order number 4, then it's going to work. It prints the one that's at order number 4. All right, next we want to do. So we have A, we have P, we have C. Okay, so I means that we want to make one of them invalid. So we have our function here. How do we make one invalid? Well, you're going to ask, you're going to say how many orders there are. You're going to get the number, and then you're going to have to go through the loop, and you're going to have to find the one that's at the correct number -1. Oh, no, that's not what you do. You're going to use a loop to make sure that they put in the right number. So we can take our loop that we had already here, where it's going to be the same loop, sort of. So you print out the thing and you say, okay, enter the number. Now this function, this is inside of a function. So this is also for practice with the pointers. So this is going to make sure that it's in the right range. Then once it's in the right range, all you're going to do is go to that location, which is at location number -1, and make that one invalid. All right, so I'm going to leave that up to you to finish and test it and make sure that it works. And then our next option in our list, and then you call the function. So once you get that to work, you call the function. And then this next function is, you're going to, so these functions I'm going to leave also for you to work on. They're very similar to what we've been doing so far, but draw the picture and practice. So on the selection of E, I did not say to do this through a function. So you're just going to ask and get the amount, and then you're going to use this same loop here to go through here like this. So once you get the amount, you're going to go through with the loop that goes through the value at count pointer. All right, so this one, I think, let me take a look here. So you're going to print all of them that are over a certain amount. Doesn't matter if they're valid or not valid. So you're just going to take that amount, and then you're going to say if the order amount is greater than, remember, you still have to ask and get that amount. If that is greater than, if the order amount is greater than, oh, I don't know why it's glitching like that, but that's okay, is greater than the amount that the user entered. So you're going to loop through. Remember, you got to change this to value at count pointer. And then if your order amount is greater than the amount that they entered, then you're going to print that customer onto the screen. Actually, let's see if this works. So I'm just going to set an amount equal to 900 and call this and test this one. So if I say E, the only one that's greater than, let's look at our report. The only one that is greater than 900 in our report. Yep, so let's check which one is greater than $50. And again, you're not going to assign a value. I'm just testing. You're going to ask and get the value from the user. All right, let's see. All right, so there are 2 that are greater than $50. Let's print them all onto the screen and see. Yep, that's $23.99. That's $7.99. That's greater, and that's not. Yep, so that seems to be working as expected. So we've done all of the features except for making invalid, which means you just have to you have to go through the loop. No, actually, to make it invalid, you have an invalid function, and calculate the total and average, you have a function. So let's go look at those 2 functions quickly. To make invalid, it's going to be the same thing that you're going to get the number, which is the number that you want to make invalid. And once they give you that number, then you just make it invalid. It's change the V to an I. There's no feature in here to change it back to a V. So essentially changing it to an I is canceling it. Take a look at the sample output. And then the last thing that you're going to do and the report is loop through the array and add up all the amounts that are valid. So you are going to have the if condition to make sure that it's valid. And then you're just going to calculate the total. You're going to have to make a count because not all of them are valid. So it's not going to be the same as this count. It's going to be a different count. And you're going to calculate the sum of all of those. And then you take the average by taking that sum and divided by that total count. All right, so if you have any, please don't wait till the last minute to work on this. And if you have any questions, please get help. And there's, as you know, lots of ways to get help. If you ask me a question through email, be sure that you attach a current version of your code.